Who is Entity 7 and why is everyone suddenly talking about them? If you've been watching MSC 2026, you've probably seen this name appear more and more, leaving many fans asking the same question. They aren't a historic powerhouse like the Philippines' top organizations or Indonesia's biggest brands. They don't have years of international trophies behind them. Yet, after their impressive performances at MSC 2026, Entity 7 has quickly transformed from an unfamiliar name into one of the tournament's biggest storylines. Today, we're breaking down exactly who they are, where they came from, and why this team deserves your attention before the rest of the world catches on. Welcome back to Mobile Legends News. Entity 7 is a professional Mobile Legends organization based in Peru, representing the rapidly improving South American scene. They earned their place at MSC 2026 by winning MCT AMER Season 1, securing the region's direct main stage qualification and proving themselves as the strongest team in the Americas. While longtime MLBB fans may remember seeing Entity 7 in previous international events, they have never enjoyed the same level of global recognition as organizations from the Philippines, Indonesia, or Malaysia. That changed at MSC 2026, where strong performances against elite competition introduced Entity 7 to a much wider audience and sparked conversations about whether the Americas are finally ready to compete with the world's best. Entity 7's road to MSC 2026 is basically the "wait, who are these guys?" storyline done at the highest level. On their official trail to Paris, MLBB Esports positioned them as South America's representative, and the club itself has branded as a World Esports Club since 2021, which tells you this is not some ancient super team with a decade of global hardware behind it. They came through the Americas route and earned that right to stand on the international stage by winning the match that decided the region's direct MSC berth, with official MLBB Esports posts specifically saying Entity 7 would face Alpha 7 North in the grand final to determine who goes straight to MSC 2026, then celebrating that Entity 7 secured the spot. That matters because Entity 7 does not come from the usual global favorites pipeline. Their home base is Peru, but the official messaging around them consistently frames them as Latin America and South America's champions. The kind of team that has to earn respect the hard way instead of inheriting it from legacy status. MLBB Esports even leaned into an underdog identity in multiple posts, saying they can pull off upsets against some of the strongest teams in the world. That is why their qualification feels bigger than a standard regional win. It is not just about getting to MSC. It's about South America proving it belongs in the same conversation as the scene's traditional giants. The official roster spotlight gives a clear picture of how this team is built. MLBB Esports graphics repeatedly highlighted Akashi, Hide on Bush, Shin, Doom, and Vaguin, with Chris Angel listed as coach and Adolfo as manager. That is important because Entity 7's identity is clearly collective rather than superstar only. You are not looking at a team that survives off of one player hard carrying every map. You are looking at a squad whose official presentation emphasizes a stable core, coaching structure, and enough trust between roles to challenge bigger name opponents. In other words, they do not just show up with mechanics. They show up with a system. And honestly, that system is what makes them interesting. Based on the official results trail, Entity 7 look like a team that becomes nastier when the game gets messy. MLBB Esports called their run in Paris a historic day in MLBB upsets, and then later celebrated Entity 7 for doing the impossible by dethroning Team Liquid PH, the defending MSC champions, and surviving another day. That kind of official wording matters because it points to a very specific competitive trait. Entity 7 are comfortable in pressure games. They do not seem to panic when the bracket gets loud. They thrive when a series turns into a brawl, and they are willing to turn that chaos into momentum. This is usually what separates a nice regional team from a genuine international threat. On the drafting side, the safest read from the official material is that Entity 7 prioritized execution and comfort over cute tricks. The official posts do not hand us the full pick ban spreadsheet, so it would be irresponsible to pretend we have the perfect draft data from MLBB's own channels. But the way MLBB esports described them as upset makers, plus the fact that they survived high-pressure regional and international series, suggests a team whose drafts are built to be playable, coordinated, and reliable rather than flashy for the timeline. This is usually what you want from a underdog at MSC. Clean engage tools, strong teamfight structure, and enough trust in the core lineup that every member knows their job the second the horde sounds. That is an interference, but it is the most reasonable one from the official evidence. So, how are they doing against the favorites so far? The official MSC at EWC 2026 coverage shows Entity 7 in the same Group B path as ONIC, and the official MLBB esports pages immediately followed that kind of matchup pressure by celebrating Entity 7's elimination of Team Liquid PH. That is the exact profile of a surprise team. They run into a heavyweight, absorb the hit, then come back and swing the bracket. Even when the odds are not friendly, Entity 7 have already shown they can force the conversation. At this stage, their ceiling is not cute underdog story. Their ceiling is upsetting someone bigger, surviving the chaos and becoming the team that nobody wants to draw once the bracket gets tight. If they keep converting pressure into clean series wins, they absolutely have the potential to become one of MSC's biggest surprise teams. But for me, here's what makes Entity 7's story so important, and it's much bigger than one tournament. You know, for years, the international MLBB conversation has been dominated by the same handful of regions. Whenever fans discuss championship contenders, the spotlight almost always landed on the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, or occasionally, China. Teams from emerging regions often entered international tournaments viewed as underdogs, whose main goal was simply gaining experience. But MSC 2026 represents something different. Their victory over defending champions Team Liquid PH perfectly captured that mindset. It wasn't simply another match result, it was proof that preparation, teamwork, and confidence can overcome reputation. Suddenly, Entity 7 wasn't just the team from South America, they became a legitimate threat that every remaining competitor had to respect. And that's exactly why Entity 7 had become one of MSC's defining stories. Winning the championship would still be an enormous challenge, especially with several world-class contenders remaining in the tournament. But championships aren't the only measure of success. Sometimes, changing how the world views your region is just as impactful. If Entity 7 continues this level of performance, they won't just elevate their own organization. They'll inspire more investment, more competition, and greater belief throughout the Americas. That's precisely the vision behind MLBB's expanding global esports ecosystem, creating opportunities for new regions to prove they belong on the biggest stage. So in many ways, Entity 7 is already accomplishing that mission. Entity 7 is far more than just another team that qualified for MSC 2026. They've become one of the tournament's most fascinating unknowns, a roster representing a rapidly improving region that's beginning to challenge the traditional balance of power in Mobile Legends esports. While they still have plenty to prove before joining the world's elite, their performances have already earned the respect of fans and opponents alike. Whether their journey ends tomorrow or continues deep into the bracket, Entity 7 has established itself as one of the teams every MLBB fan should be watching. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Entity 7's incredible MSC 2026 run? Can they become this year's biggest breakout team? Or have they already exceeded expectations? Let us know your predictions in the comments below. And while you're there, tell us which lesser-known team you think has the best chance to shock the world at MSC 2026. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more Mobile Legends news throughout MSC. Till next time.